You enter a room and something invisible tightens. Your shoulders adjust. Your voice recalibrates. You become aware of yourself in a way that did not exist seconds earlier. Nothing external has changed except one fact: you are being seen. And in that instant, you are no longer just living, you are performing. Jean-Paul Sartre captured this unsettling shift with a phrase that still disturbs people: hell is other people. It sounds hostile, almost antisocial, but he was not condemning companionship or friendship. He was diagnosing a psychological tension that defines human existence. The presence of others does not merely surround you, it shapes you, it freezes you, it tempts you to become something smaller than your potential. For Sartre, identity is not a solid object hidden deep inside you. It is not a fixed essence waiting to be discovered. It is fluid, dynamic, constantly in motion. You are not born as something predetermined. You are a being who becomes through choices. Every action refines you. Every decision participates in shaping who you are. But the moment someone observes you, something shifts. Their gaze turns you into an object. You become something defined, something interpreted. Instead of being a living process, you become a snapshot in someone else's perception, and that transformation can feel suffocating. Think about laughter. When you laugh alone, it flows naturally. There is no calculation, no awareness of how it sounds, but introduce an observer, and the laughter changes. You hear yourself, you measure yourself, you wonder how it appears. That subtle self-consciousness is the gaze at work. It is not merely that others judge you, it is that their perception tempts you to internalize their judgment. Over time, you begin to see yourself as they might see you. You adopt labels that once came from outside: shy, difficult, reliable, emotional, strong, weak. Each description narrows your sense of possibility. This is how identity becomes constrained. You start behaving in ways that confirm the image others expect. If you are known as calm, you suppress anger. If you are seen as competent, you hide confusion. If you are labeled sensitive, you second-guess your reactions. You adapt to maintain coherence in their eyes. Sartre called this bad faith. Not simple lying, but a deeper self-deception. It is the moment you pretend you are fixed, as though you are nothing more than a role. You say, "That's just who I am," when in truth you are avoiding the anxiety of freedom. Because freedom is unsettling. It means you are not limited to the identity others assign. It means you are responsible for redefining yourself. Responsibility is heavy. It is easier to hide in expectation, to accept a role rather than challenge it, to perform consistency rather than risk change. The gaze of others offers stability, even if it costs authenticity. You may resent the pressure, yet you rely on it to avoid the burden of constant self-creation. Modern life intensifies this tension. Social platforms amplify the gaze beyond physical presence. You curate images. You anticipate reactions. You measure yourself through feedback. Over time, the imagined observer becomes permanent. Even alone, you feel watched. You rehearse statements internally before speaking them aloud. You edit yourself before anyone else can. This internalized audience fragments you. You become both actor and spectator. You monitor yourself constantly, shaping behavior to align with perceived expectations. The self splits. Instead of living directly, you filter every experience through how it might appear. Embarrassment reveals this mechanism clearly. When you stumble in private, you laugh it off. When you stumble in public, heat floods your body. The discomfort is not the action itself, it is the imagined judgment. You feel reduced to that single moment, as though your entire identity has collapsed into a flaw witnessed by others. But here is Sartre's brutal truth. You cannot control how you are seen. You cannot force others to grasp your complexity. Their interpretations are filtered through their own experiences, biases, fears. They see fragments, not totality, yet you are tempted to treat their fragment as the whole. The real prison is not their gaze, it is your surrender to it. You are always choosing how much authority their perception holds. Even when you feel trapped by labels, there remains a margin of freedom. You can either collapse into the role or resist it. Resistance does not require dramatic rebellion. It requires quiet authorship. When you notice yourself shrinking to avoid judgment, you have a choice. When you exaggerate traits to maintain approval, you have a choice. Even when fear rises, you are deciding how to respond. Sartre insisted that freedom is unavoidable. You may deny it, you may resent it, but you cannot escape it. This realization is uncomfortable. It removes excuses. You cannot blame others entirely for how you define yourself. They influence you, yes, they shape early patterns, but they do not eliminate your capacity to choose. At every moment, you are responding. Authenticity, then, becomes an act of defiance. Not defiance against people, but against reduction. When you speak honestly despite fear of misinterpretation, you reclaim subjecthood. When you allow yourself to evolve beyond an outdated label, you step out of the snapshot. This does not guarantee approval. Some people prefer the predictable version of you. They may resist your growth because it destabilizes their expectations. But authenticity filters relationships. It reveals who connects with your living reality and who connects only with your performance. The paradox is that genuine connection requires vulnerability. You cannot eliminate the gaze entirely. Being seen is inevitable, but you can shift your stance toward it. Instead of freezing under observation, you remain fluid. You accept that misunderstanding will happen. You allow others to perceive you imperfectly without surrendering authorship. Sartre's insight is harsh because it refuses comfort. It does not promise a world where perception disappears. It demands courage within perception. It demands that you tolerate ambiguity, that you accept the anxiety of being unfinished, that you stop hiding behind labels as shields. When you say, "I am just this way," ask whether that statement reflects truth or convenience. Are you embracing identity as possibility or using it to avoid change? The difference determines whether you are living freely or merely repeating a script. Freedom is not a grand event. It is repeated choice. It is the decision to act in alignment with internal conviction rather than external expectation. It is speaking when silence would maintain image. It is admitting uncertainty when competence would protect reputation. Hell, in Sartre's sense, is living as though you are nothing more than reflection. It is allowing other people's interpretations to finalize you. It is shrinking infinite potential into a single narrative. But you are not finished. You are not static. You are not confined to the role someone assigned years ago. You are the one who chooses how to respond to being seen. That choice happens again and again, in small, often invisible moments. The gaze may follow you, it may influence you, it may unsettle you, yet it does not own you unless you hand it ownership. You remain the author of your responses. You remain capable of redefining yourself beyond expectation. This is the liberation hidden inside Sartre's brutal statement. Not isolation from others, but awareness within their presence. Not rejection of connection, but refusal to collapse into objecthood. You will always be interpreted. But interpretation is not destiny. It is a perspective, partial and temporary. You are more than the snapshot, more than the label, more than the story someone else tells about you. The challenge is to live as though that is true, to accept being seen without becoming frozen, to endure misunderstanding without abandoning authenticity, to remain a living project, unfinished and responsible. Hell is not other people themselves. It is the unconscious surrender to their gaze. And freedom begins the moment you realize you do not have to surrender at all.